I was recently browsing Instagram and I came across this clip of what looks like a congressional hearing. The guy holds up a bag of bushings, asks,
how much do you think the Air Force pays for this bag of bushings?
I don't know, Congressman.
$90,000.
90 grand for a bag of bushings. I had no idea that simple little fixings can be so expensive, and that made me want to explore what are all the potential permutations of materials and manufacturing processes that we could use to make a humble bolt that's worth as little as $1 all the way to a $5,000 solid gold bolt. Wow! First material for the first bolt of the day is gonna be wood. What do we got? Oh, that is pretty. Also incredibly expensive looking. That is a beautiful bit of burl.
So how are you going to make a bolt out of a bit of wood?
Don't know exactly, especially considering we're in a metal workshop. But my first instinct is to grind it such that it can be held in a chuck and then turn it into a bit of round stock. That's some funny looking metal, isn't it, Jamie?
It's not metal, it's not grey, is it?
What I quickly did before I put this in here so I could turn it between centers is I made a wood lathe center out of a bit of scrap steel, and it's done a lovely job. I'm gonna take one more pass, and then we're gonna be able to put it in the chuck for real. Question now for the threads is, to die or not to die? Will a thread cutting die cut wood, or do I need to single point this bad boy? I'm concerned that the type of stresses this might put on there could be large enough that we just break this off. It's not bloody steel, it's gonna be weak, right? Would this snap off or not?
Wood.
Oh!
Hey!
Don't know the answers to these questions, unfortunately.
Well, you never know. Maybe it'll work. You will just have to try and find out.
Jamie, at this point you're just pining for attention.
All you do is moan. You're such a wet sap. Feeling a bit tired.
You are?
Yeah. Might have a canopy of Monster.
Decided to go for single pointing it. So this is gonna cut the threads based off of the rotation of the gear screw, which we're going to set down here. There's no way, there's something drastically wrong. That's not the same bloody thing, is it? Maybe we've got an issue back here, eh? 48, 88, 44. 48, 88, 44. Hopefully, swapping these gears around gets us what we need. Oh, I think that's a little bit more like it. That looks like we're on the money. No! Well, I didn't decide to make a wood bolt because I thought it was going to be easy. I thought it was going to be challenging, but you know, there we go. It was challenging. I think we've got to take a completely different tack here. The single point threading just ripped the teeth off when it got to a certain depth, which makes a lot of sense. It's putting a lot of stress on the wood, and wood is not metal. I need something that has some rotation to it, a spinning cutter, to be able to cut the threads while we're here with the lead screw across it, two things spinning in opposite directions. What about an angle grinder, Jamie? 11,000 rip'ems. So here is what I have made, a little 60-degree, doesn't really have any flutes. It looks a little bit like an engraving bit, and it's on this mandrel that has an M14 thread. Look at that! Threads right onto this angle grinder, which has been taped to my tool holder. So if I plug this in, look at that. How scary is that? A bit rounded at the bottom, isn't it? And that run out. I don't know if that's gonna be good enough for a thread profile. Where's my screw? I don't know. That doesn't look great, does it? Our first bolt is a perfectly functioning M10 copy. I never, ever could have imagined how difficult it would be to thread wood at this size. We finally did it though. The trick at the end was to get the threads started with this. I then spent like an hour and a half with files in the lathe before at last going at it with the die. This one little wooden bolt may have been our biggest challenge of this video. And as this is the beginnings of my entry into the faster manufacturing industry, of course, I need to sell it. How do we do that? I'm gonna need a product photo. Wow, would you believe it? It's really hard to photograph something that's really dark. I think that's what I'm going for. Now I need to list it for sale, add a product, add the photo, add the title, add a description. And since it serves zero purpose, it's only worth $1. We've only got one in inventory, and just like that, we've added it for sale. And of course, you know the reason that was so easy is because of our sponsor, Squarespace. Just like that, in 2 minutes, I've been able to add the product I made for sale, and that's the flexibility that you get with building your website with Squarespace. You don't need any coding experience. I'm just a klutz with a mobile phone, and I can make my website adapt to whatever I'm doing with my business to achieve my goals of eventually being able to sell a $90,000 bag of bushings. Change the product page on the website. All right, check this out. We actually have 4 Squarespace websites at the moment. I need to go in and drag all products up so that it shows in the main menu. Then I want to edit our M10 Bolt product so that we can add some variants because there's more materials to come. Squarespace can be as simple or as advanced as you like. We can edit the SKU, stock level, and price for the individual variants, as well as change a photo. And the end result is the customer gets to choose the variant at checkout. That's how good it looks, and that's how easy it was. Speaking of steel, it's time for a steel bolt. Oh, it'd be funner to forge this thing, wouldn't it? We should really forge it. Right, I've got steel heating up in the fire. This is up for sale. Hopefully somebody buys it. Let's make our steel one. Some 25mm round stock. Our wooden bolt has sold. Now this is gonna be a lot easier. It's gonna be bloody nice. This goes in and out. It's a tailstock mounted die holder. There we go. I didn't really need to hit it that hard, did I? Right, snap a quick picture, send this across to the computer. Now we can update the photo for the steel bolt, update our stock for this variant. It's a 5-pound bolt. And that means our customer can now select material, click on steel, and the image for the steel populates before they can go to purchase. But here's the thing, guys. Our 1-pound wooden bolt took about an hour and a half to sell. So our marketing strategy is not on point. As a result, we're going to do some email marketing. Fortunately, it couldn't be easier. Marketing, email campaigns, select an email template. All right, we're going to delete this block. And then here, I'm going to add a product, M10 by 30mm bolt. Okie doke. Subject line, bolts, but no nuts. 1 steel forged and machined bolt available. We can select which subscribers it goes to, schedule immediately, do a test. Boom, there we go. Nice and simple. Straight to the website. $1, $5. Jamie, we're going to need to increase revenue a little bit. We need something a bit fancier. If we're going to compete with Big Fastener, we need to step it up a notch. Fancier materials, more expensive materials. Oh, here we go. Look at that. How heavy do you reckon that is, Jamie? It's got to be enough for a bolt in that. Let's turn this pipe into a copper bolt. Are you ready? I freaking need a share, Jamie, I'm telling you. Imagine we just conk, 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 conk. I need to know what it's gonna go in to melt though. I think we should see what came in this box. You've got to be f***ing kidding me. Packing peanuts. Again. I wonder if these are the edible kind. We have a big crucible. It's rubber. Where's my phone gone? I just heard a notification, Jamie. I heard the ka-ching. Aha, Oliver's gone at it again. He's bought the steel bolt too. Right, I'm gonna cut this at my neighbor's shop. Are they all going in the bucket, Jamie?
Yeah, straight in.
Okay, good. I'm gonna turn these little copper bits, hopefully, into a bar. We've made a rinky-dink mold, and as the metals get fancier, so will the processes, because this is not fancy casting, but we've got fancy casting coming up soon. See if I remember how to do this. Little borax in the crucible. Oh yeah, that's pretty, isn't it? Make sure everything's been heated up so there's no moisture. Woo, look at it go! Woo!
But he missed most of it. Whoa! Oh, that's so cool!
God, that's a treat for sore eyes, isn't it? Ooh, a little bit of copper round stock. I've just made this tool. You hear that? That is exactly why this is called a monkey tool, from the quenching monkey cries it makes. We're going to use this to upset the copper. Haven't used this one in a while. Copper bolt's done. Let's add a new material here. One of a kind cast and forged copper bolt for £10. Just like that. She's on the website. I'm finding it really interesting to mess around with different materials and also manufacturing processes to make an identical bolt where there is a very varying scarcity of the material. In order to make this copper bolt, I did a completely different order of operations, turning the hex first, and it worked a treat, especially because of the limited amount of raw stock I had. Speaking of limited amount of raw stock, I'm holding £16 sterling worth of product right here. And with all this work, I'm no closer to taking over the fastener industry. So it's time to bring out some more valuable materials. That right there's a drop forged silver. The more expensive the material gets, the less extra material we can afford for work holding, and the more careful we've got to be with any sort of waste. And so for this, we're gonna need to cast it a lot more precisely. We're gonna be sand casting it, and in order to make a good impression in the sand, we're gonna need a good pattern. But I don't think we can use a regular old bolt for the pattern. I think it needs some draft angles. And that's what we've come up with. Here is our sprue, here is our threadless bolt, as well as a little nipple on top, so that if there's any shrinkage as that molten metal cools, it hopefully doesn't affect this top surface of the bolt. So delivery has arrived, filled with the things that we'll hopefully need. Oh my goodness. It's so diddy! So in order to sand cast this is the plan. We fill up the bottom of this frame with sand, compact it down, press this bad boy in until it goes halfway. Then we're going to take the top half, slip it in place, put a little bit of talcum powder on the original surface, fill this up with sand, press it in. We'll take them apart. Right, now what do? We'll take this out, and then we'll be left with the negative space of this. We can reassemble the frame, hold it upright, and then melt our silver before pouring it in. Wow! Oh, it is a success. Look at that surface finish, Jamie. That's incredible from a sand casting. Running up against the issues of dealing with precious metals that are unalloyed and extraordinarily soft. This thing's all kinds of messed up. It's picked up a bend, so the head is no longer perpendicular to the shaft, and just bloody getting it held in the vise was enough to triangulate our hexagon. This is why it was very nice on our earlier examples to have so much extra material to hold on to. But given that we're now dealing with significantly more expensive bits of metal, extra is not a given. Let me see if I can come up with some ideas. All right. Another monkey tool there. That is nerve-wracking, folks. I think this can come out of the socket now. Woo. Some handwork. Should have this thing finished up in no time. All right, let's weigh the silver bolt. 31.8 grams. Oh wow, that's underwhelming. 74p a gram times 0.74 equals only 23 quid. What? I thought this was going to be way more expensive. This has not been a very cost-effective endeavor. Hey ho, can't win it all. Price, 23.45, one in stock, silver M10. Boom. So there we go, it's live, £23.45. Now it's time for us to prepare for casting the gold, and since the silver turned out so good after that casting, I decided that I would head to the lathe and I would single point half of the threads onto it. I'll have to finish them when we're done, but this is hopefully gonna mean less gold in the bottom of my lathe. It's obviously quite important with gold, because it's expensive. We'll get this put in the sand and fire up the torch. Now we need our gold to check that out. Definitely not enough gold. That's 20 grams. Oh, that is beautiful. Beautiful bit of minting there. So 20 grams of gold was pretty expensive, but 20 grams of gold is not enough to make a bolt from, which is why out of the drawer comes this. 6.5 years ago, we took 100 grams of gold and we forged it in a video, Can You Forge Gold, into this integral little mini gold knife. It sat around doing nothing for a very long time, apart from appreciating in value. This is the only investment that's ever increased in value in my entire life. And so, you know what I'm gonna do as a result of that? With a little bend. God, that would not have been good as a knife. Imagine you could just do that with your chef's knife. We've got about 100 grams of the stuff. It'll hopefully be enough. Let's pour it.
Oh, it's going already. Look at that. Oh my goodness, it's quick.
Woo! It's cooled down. Oh yeah. Goodness gracious, that looks good for a sand casting, at least in my eye. I really hope that the gamble of having some half-cut threads pays off here. And I hope it gets us some better definition than we got on the silver threads, because they did end up a bit gold up. One of the big things I learned from the silver is that the 3-jaw chuck just smushes the head, and simply slotting the head inside an appropriately sized socket helps to spread those forces and save from deforming the head. And smush! Press this on, then it's in the lathe. There she goes. Must save the chip. Must save the chip. Right, so I tried going in with the dye, but I think that gold is so plastic, so malleable, that instead of following the grooves that we cast in there, it's just mushing itself about, and by the looks of it, is about to cut threads that are not in line with the grooves we cast, which for obvious reasons would be really a big problem. So I think I'm gonna single point thread it. This is hilarious. Same guy ordered the silver bolt. Oh, that is special. That is so cool. I just single point threaded a golden bolt. Wow. Oh, what the f is that? Oh no! What? No, no, the lead screw! Shit. Oh! The lead screw popped out. You've got to be shitting me. Oh, it was so close. Of course, it's the last bloody pass. The last pass. Completely trashed it. Well, I guess it goes in the scrap pile, and I melt it down and start all over. We're right back where we were, and it now threads. I have to say, gold is a bit of a temperamental material in the lathe. On regular turning and facing operations, it galls like nobody's business. But fortunately, in the thread cutting itself, the surface finish seems to be better. Little filing, little polishing, stamp the touch mark, and she's gonna be good. Bloomin' heck. We made a lot of scrap gold. Frickin', that's a $5,000 bolt right there. Holy moly. That's all we salvaged from the lathe. It's in a Ziploc. Bloody hell. That was 4.5 grams. Like $350. I don't think we're gonna be taking over the fastener industry by storm just yet. But I do have a need for this. We're bloody missing a bolt on this anvil stand. Do. No matter your business or the projects that you want to share with the world, I hope that you check out today's sponsor, Squarespace. I hope that I have demonstrated to you just how easy and powerful it is. I really think it's phenomenal, so please go to squarespace.com/forge. You get a free trial, build your website, see how easy it is, and then when you use code FORGE at checkout, you'll get 10% off your first purchase. That includes your domain purchase because you can buy it all there. And of course, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it sincerely. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.